Welcome to the Golden Square Podcast with your hosts, Linda Scott and Sharilyn Fisher. Are you ready? Because we're starting right now, only on Stunner Radio, the heart and soul of the culture.
Hey! Hello, everybody. Hello.
Good evening. You know what I want to say first?
What's that?
I want to say, send my condolences to Tyrese Nichols' family.
Yeah, and his family.
Yeah, and we watched the service on yesterday and
yes.
I cried like a baby on
too.
yesterday because I've been in those shoes.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so let us first start out by saying that, and our heart really goes out to the family.
To his entire family, but
especially
his mother. To his mom. Oh my God, my heart went out with her. Oh Lord, I prayed for her so hard. I think I prayed the angels out of heaven yesterday.
Oh, she needed
oh my
it.
God,
she needed it. But on the other hand, so listen, we want to say welcome tonight. Tonight is
an exciting show.
It is, and it's in reference to. It's in reference to what happened. Yes. Yeah. So let's get going. Let's bring in our guests because we don't want to waste any time. There's so much that we want to talk about because we need to talk about this. And I know you're going to say, as my children say, "Ma, I don't want to hear that." Mm-hmm. So, producer, let's bring in our guests tonight.
Hello.
Hey, beautiful.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm
How
great.
you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you all?
Great. Let us say thank you for coming on to be with us for this evening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for the information, the education that you're going to provide for us, it's just one of those things that is so needed.
It's needed, and especially in our community.
Yes.
So it's really needed in our community. And I hate to say that, I'm not trying to make a difference, but it is. Right. It's the truth. I'm just being truthful.
Right.
It's because I've been there.
Right.
I have been there. And I know so many other people who have been there because you never know when death is coming. You never know. You never know.
You don't.
It's right around the corner, or it might be 2 weeks down, or it might be a century down.
Hey,
a second.
We don't know. We don't know the day or the hour. But hey, let us do this. Let you tell LaSonia, the people, who you are and what you do.
Okay. I'm LaSonia Latulas, and I am a pre-need funeral agent licensed in the state of Texas. And one thing I've learned is that no one should have to experience loss and plan for loss at the same time. Mm. I have been a pre-need agent for approximately 3 years, and this is not only a passion, but it is personal for me. And I am determined to educate the masses about the importance of pre-need.
Wow. Great. So when you say pre-need, what is that? What is pre-need?
Pre-need funeral arrangements. Basically what it is that you pre-plan your funeral now while you're alive, and you give it to your family as the greatest gift that they will ever receive. So that's not something they will have to deal with when you transition, because you would do that at this time now, and they can take what you put in place, and then they can move forward with your arrangements because you thought enough of them to pre-plan what you would like for your final arrangements.
Well, LaSonia, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I pre-plan my funeral, and I'm assuming I don't pay for it in advance. Okay. Can I make payments on it, or do I have to pay it all in advance? How does that work?
You have lots of options. One option is you can pay it in a single pay. And if you choose not to make it in a single payment, you can pay it in options of 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10 years.
That's another question.
Okay.
What if I decide to extend the payments and something happens and I'm not here before I finish paying the payments? What liability does my family have on that? Do they have to finish paying it, or what liability does they have with that?
If I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying if you transition before you have paid the pre-need plan off, what's the liability to your family? Actually, there will be no liability to your family as long as your policy is current. Let's say you took out a pre-need plan today and you transitioned in 2 years. As long as your plan is current, there is an insurance rider attached to a pre-need that will pay it off 100%.
Shut the front door.
Okay, I have another question.
Ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, you in.
I know when insurance companies have a rider for when you take your life, like the policy is not enforced for 2 years if you decide to take your life before that 2-year period. Does the pre-need have that type of rider on it also?
The pre-need rider is a little different. It actually starts at 3 months and it goes in percentages, and it breaks down from 3 to 6 months, and then 6 months to a year, and then a year to 2 years. And it starts at like 35%. But once you are at the 2-year mark, it will be 100%.
Okay, so because like for a regular whole life policy, you get nothing. But this policy, you're saying I get 35% of the insurance, or I mean, my family does get 35%.
Exactly.
At some point, they get 50% and 70%. Oh, wow, that's
yes.
Shut the door.
Depending on the time that the person transitioned, that is correct.
Okay, so let me ask this question though, and we normally don't have a lot of questions. We just be in conversation. But here's the questions on this right here.
We're so ignorant to this. We have a lot of questions.
So
go ahead.
If let me see how do I put it? If I don't pay it off before I transitioned, no, that's not how I want. That's not the question. How I want it to be done.
Okay.
Go ahead, because I
like that word. I like that word transition because if I die,
yeah. So
I like that transition.
Yes.
Go ahead, because I'm trying to figure out how do I.
Okay, so let me ask this question. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we pre-plan, and I come to you and I say I want to pre-plan my funeral. So I pick a is it a coffin? I pick a coffin and I say I want a limo and I want these flowers and I want this and I want that. And you tell me the price of all this, and then I get the title price. And I go, okay, LaSonia, I don't want all that. I don't want all that after all. Let's cut some of this down. So you can kind of plan it towards your budget.
Exactly. And that's the good thing about pre-planning is that one of the things is that it removes the financial burden from your family. Okay.
Right.
At every funeral home, they will have some packages already put together. It's a very slim chance that what's included in that package will not be enough. Okay. So more than likely your family won't purchase anything addition to what's in there, and caskets are included if you are going to have a burial. So most funeral homes have anywhere from 3 to 5 different packages that you can choose from, and they all come with a price to them already. You can add some things to it. And what it does is that the beautiful thing about the pre-need is that it locks in today's prices for when such time that the person transition. One reason that it's so personal to me, as I said in my opening statement, is that my parents had pre-needs back in the 90s, and they paid their pre-needs off. Okay. So they locked in the prices of funerals in the 90s. My dad transitioned in December of 2012, and he was buried at what people were being buried for the cost in the 1990s. My mother is still here with us. When such time comes that she does transition, her pre-need has been paid for since the 90s. So we won't have to pay anything else as far as her funeral because it's been taken care of. So you lock in today's prices for the future use time when someone transitions. And that's like one of the most beautiful things, you know, and one of the reasons that people get a pre-need, in addition to taking the burden off of their loved ones. And then they get to vast in what you want, because you make the choices right now while your eyes are open. So when your eyes are closed, they can honor what you want.
Okay, so here is my question on all of this. Now, and we're just going to use these figures just for the sake of having some numbers.
Sure.
If today I should go in and get everything done, so my final total is, we'll say 10,000. We know that ain't true, but we'll just say 10,000. If I live to, and I think you said it when you spoke about your father. When does it stop when does it come complete for my 10,000? Once I pay the 10,000, or I'm constantly paying and paying and paying?
Okay, good
How
question.
how does that?
Good question. That's one thing that's different with the pre-need and a regular insurance policy. Once you pay your policy off, you're done. It's just like purchasing a home, purchasing a car. Once you pay your final note, whether you pay it out over payments or you pay it off in advance, once you've paid it, it's yours. You own it. You own it just like you own your car, just like you own your home, and it stops. It doesn't go and go and go. That's the reason you lock that price in now for when such time come that you would need to use it.
Yeah, because I had a gentleman call me today, and I asked him, he takes care of his brother. His brother is ill. He takes care of his brother, and I asked him, I said, well, do you have an insurance policy on your brother? He says, yes. He says it's about $5,000. He says, but I've had it forever. He says that it's not going to do anything. It's not going to be enough to do anything with, but I can't cancel it because I'm just thinking about how much money I put in. I said, you probably put in about 5 times more than that policy is worth over the years. And
so there's nothing that could be done for that situation right there. I'm not, I get, okay. So I lost my daughter in 99, and she didn't have a pre-need, but in 99 it wasn't, as you would know with your father, it wasn't expensive as it is right now. And I have 2 boys, grandchildren, and myself. So with this gentleman's situation, there is nothing that could be done unless it is the pre-need that's taken care of. Because I know there's the funeral home side, and then the pre-need is on another side as well. So how could we possibly fix that? Because he's still going to need more than $5,000.
I told him to listen to the show tonight.
That was good. Let him. I hope that he has joined in. But in short, if he did not, by all means, have him contact me. I can assist him. It's just so much regarding that particular situation. I would rather talk with him one-on-one, give him some options. But there is something that that he can do. And you mentioned, Linda, about your daughter passing, and she had no pre-need, but she had, did you say she had life insurance?
She had all the other accidental death, all that. She had all that.
And so the thing with your life insurance policy, I have life insurance myself. I also have a pre-need. So what I like for people to understand is what a life insurance policy is and what a pre-need policy is. A life insurance policy is in place to leave behind for the ones you're leaving life to, so they can live and move on with the life. But if they have to take a part of what is in your life insurance policy to bury you, then that takes away from what you were living there. So when you have a pre-need in place, they do not have to take anything from the life policy because it will come straight from the pre-need. So now whatever you left them in the life insurance policy, it's all theirs. So that's a big difference. And that's something, to think about, the difference in the two, and then some people, if you don't really have anyone who actually look for your support financially, then some people may not even take an insurance policy. They may just take out a pre-need so that burden is not on someone to take them to their final destination.
Hello, Betty. Thanks for joining us. Betty says insurance is a necessity, and you are so right, Betty.
I agree.
I agree. It is a necessity. And then you know what? I think the pre-need is such a good idea because people don't look down the road. And what happens is they have these big insurance policies on their job. And they have these accidental death insurance on their job. And then when you retire or you get fired or whatever, this insurance doesn't go with you unless you want, what do they call it? Cobra.
And you can't afford that. You
cannot afford that.
So that's what most people don't know.
That's what people don't understand, that you can't take that insurance with you unless you're a millionaire. Then you don't need it because it's very expensive, very, very expensive. So, Toya says she's never heard of pre-need insurance. She's learning a lot.
Oh, well, good. And I can believe that because I know coming up as a young girl, I would hear my parents, my grandparents mainly, they would say two things. You better get over there and get you a plot, and you better get you some life insurance, Well, they only can pass to us what they knew because one, the plot is actually 6 or more spaces. So in all actuality, all you would need is a space. But they didn't know that. Nobody broke that down to them. You only need a space. And then life insurance, that's all our grandparents knew. You need somewhere to bury you when you leave this place, and you need some money for it to be done. So a lot of people, as the young lady said, she didn't know about pre-need, and people mix pre-needs with final arrangements and all those together. They are still 2 totally different things, 3 totally different things if you include insurance, because a pre-need is the only one thing that can lock in today's prices for your family to have when you transition in the future. The only thing. Final expenses will take some money and put in a savings account. And that's wonderful and that's beautiful because at least you will have something. But when that time comes that you transition, you are going to pay the prices when you're in that at-need situation. Whereas if you have a pre-need, you lock those prices in so that when your family's in that at-need situation, they have the gift that you left behind for them.
Wow, that's amazing. And insurance is so, to me, you almost need to take a class to understand insurance.
Absolutely.
Because my dad was a very, very even-tempered, very seldom got angry or whatever. But he would get so angry. Every Wednesday, the man used to come to our door and he would say, Miss White, Tennessee, from the Tennessee insurance man. And that was the only thing my dad would get. I have seen my dad get upset about if my mom would miss that insurance payment.
Oh, yeah.
Because he said it's a waste of money. Yeah. But my mom had that insurance policy forever, ever. And when she passed, it was not a whole life insurance policy. It was a term life, and it practically had no value. So people need to understand when you're going out buying these insurance to make sure you know what you're buying, what you're getting.
That's right.
And
I think so. We need
with pre-needs, you know exactly what you're getting.
That's right. Exactly right, because you're having that right then when you get the pre-need. As I said before, every funeral home has some type of package, so you're going to know right then what you're getting and how much it costs. If you want to add in some other things, you can add those things in so they can be broken down into payments as well. But the big thing here is knowing and understanding that your pre-need will lock in today's price.
Right. I didn't understand that until, unfortunately, my god sister passed 6 months ago.
Okay.
So my god sister passed 6 months ago. My godmother. Now she always say these words. I may not be educated in high school or school-wise. But I'm like, Mom, you got so much up here.
So much.
The wisdom that she can,
so much.
I would have never known that. And by me being with her to make these arrangements, I went with her to the pre-need where she locked in everything for my god sister. And I was like, well, wait, what's going on? I didn't understand. So I was like to the guy, pretend I am a kindergarten student and talk to me so I can understand, because I'm not understanding what's going on. So you're saying that whatever she locks in right now, that if my sister was to pass tomorrow, everything, well, we'll just say a couple of days or weeks or whatever.
In the future.
If my sister was to pass, my mother don't have to take care of nothing. Everything is going to be everything that she put on this paper. And he was like, yes. And I was like, I didn't understand it. I didn't know it. Not so much that I didn't understand it. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And she brought that to my attention. And it's every time come go to the funeral home, I got to go to the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not a place that we want to go.
Right.
However, I was gladly to receive that education right there because
Yes.
when my sister did pass, it was nothing for my mother to do but to go find the outfit that the funeral home wanted her to be buried in. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that's another subject because that made me crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ann Johnson wants to know, can you buy a pre-need for cremation?
Yes, you can buy a pre-need for cremation and for a funeral
Depression.
service. It all works the exact same way. You can pay it off in a single payment or in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10 years. It works exactly the same. And that was a wonderful question. And
It
since
was.
we're talking about cremation, people have misconceptions about cremation. People want to think that the average person get cremation because they can't afford anything else. That is so not true.
Mm,
The average person, now that more people are getting familiar with cremation, they are getting cremations to take that burden off of their family and it's just
wow.
less because
Yeah.
and you have so many options with cremations. You can have a direct cremation where you just cremate and you just get the ashes and you're done. Or you can have a cremation and have a memorial service at the funeral home, the church, the cemetery, or a family
Your
gathering,
choice.
however you
Yeah,
want.
your
Or you
choice.
can have a cremation where you have a full funeral service where the body is present and presented,
Yeah,
and
mhm.
your regular funeral. But then there's no there's no cemetery part because you're going to have a cremation. So then the body would be taken for cremation. So there's so many options, when it comes to cremation. You can even
Mm,
buy a niche and put, the ashes in an urn in the niche at the cemetery. It's just so many options. It has absolute, for some families, they may do cremation because in some cases it can be cheaper because depending on what you're going to get, you
in
can
the
run a
plan.
cremation bill
Right.
as expensive as a burial, so it just
Wow.
depends. But if money is really, really, really a tight thing and an issue, it may be the option that people may take, but for the
Mhm.
most part, that's not why people are getting cremated nowadays.
Wow,
Mm.
that's good to know. Going
Mhm.
back to what I was stating earlier about the funeral home requiring different outfits, um, how do we how do we add that to the pre-need? How do we do that? Because now, listen, make it easy. So when I pass
Mhm.
transition, when I do that, because I know I have to do that. However, I'm living in the state of Texas.
Okay.
My preference is to be taken home to Florida.
Okay.
So am I telling the people this is what I'm gonna want? Fly me home because I want to be in first class too. But
Okay. So you won't go. Okay.
I won't, yeah, that's what I'm just saying, just so y'all know. But then also the dress that I want to be buried in, that I could go and purchase that ahead of time so my family don't go through what Sharilyn and I am so grateful to her
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
being with me on that journey because that journey, let me tell you, that's not a good journey. I
Mhm.
think I
Mhm.
cried not because I lost my sister, because I couldn't find what the funeral
What the funeral
home
home
wanted.
required for her to
Yes.
wear.
Right. Right.
So
Yes, it was so
yeah, stressful.
difficult,
Yeah.
stressful, whatever.
And not able to find, and plus I'm a plus size girl.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the requirements is a little different. So
Right.
do we also add in our outfit? Shit, is it
Yeah.
outfit? Our outfit? Or
Depending on the funeral home, you may have some options as far as that. There's not anything quote unquote in place for a pre-need as far as the attire for a burial. But that's a conversation that can be made. That's definitely a good avenue for someone to start a business, to have that
Yeah,
I
we said we were going to do
know.
Hey.
that. So
Okay, and
Betty
the
White
young
says funeral homes can offer burial grounds, and
they
don't
do it
well,
anymore.
no, they might do it in Texas,
right?
but in Florida, they did not offer the burial ground.
Right,
We
tried.
places.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that is correct.
But an answer to Linda's question about she wants to go to Florida. My brother passed in Louisiana.
Okay.
And we knew we wanted to bring him back home. So in the pre-burial pre-arrangements, we had to actually pick a funeral home in advance.
Okay.
That would drive to Louisiana and pick up his body and bring it back. And then they put that price that they were going to charge us, and they charged us like so much a mile or whatever. And they put that, and we could put that in the pre-arrangement. So I don't know how we could put flight arrangement, but
I need them to know how to handle this, because I want to be in first class. I don't know if you're not smiling or
the only thing with that is that, of course,
I say I'm gonna participate in some of that, but that I will not. I will not be sitting up in first class when I'm going.
Okay, so go ahead, LaSonia.
Well, the only thing with that is that we can't lock in, of course, the prices regarding flight and things like that. But you can always put money aside for a flight. You can do that, or put some miscellaneous items, funds for miscellaneous items. But as far as the pre-need, let me say this, to my knowledge, there's not something we can put in there. However, I will confirm that, and I will circle back, with an answer on that, because the thing is, as much as you can put in the pre-need, the better it is, because that's less that, someone have to come up with, or in the case that the person is current on their policy, then they won't have to come up on anything, even like with, the opening and closing, if it's a burial, if it is a cremation, the urn to be included. So, you don't have to buy it, unless, of course, there's something very significant to that person that you want and you find it somewhere else. Well, that's a different thing. But the urn can be included, with a cremation, just as the casket is included also.
Okay. Let's ask you a question. This might not be. Is this something I have been curious about for so many years?
Okay.
Why is the opening and closing so expensive? I mean, that takes up almost the majority of your budget, and I don't understand why that is so expensive. I asked them the last time if I could dig the hole myself, and they told me no.
I can't. You see what I got to deal with.
I said, wait a minute. Me and my brothers can go out here and dig this hole ourselves, and they would not let us. I don't know why.
Well,
go ahead, answer that.
I don't have an answer from anyone in that particular area as to why. But when it comes to the opening and closing, as you know, there's equipment that's needed. They have to dig a certain amount, by rules and regulations. There's a certain amount, length and width. So all of that is a part of why they charge the prices they charge. In every cemetery, they have different, it is expensive. They all have different, they all have different fees that they charge for that. Now, opening and closing can be included in your pre-need package.
Okay. And it brings is the cemeteries get paid big time.
Yeah, they do. They do. So, but okay, so look, why are we talking about the cemetery? So, say my daughter has already gone, and then I say I want to be buried on top of my daughter. Is that something? Because I've only heard that in Florida. So I'm asking you.
And here, the only place I know they do that is the Veterans Hospital, because my sister-in-law did it. When my brother passed, then they let her buy it wasn't a plot. They let her be buried in the same plot with him on top. That's the only place in Texas that I know allow you to do that.
Right, and that's the only place that I've ever heard was the VA cemetery. I don't know. I don't think they bury anywhere on top of each other. And again,
I was looking forward to being with my baby.
You would have to be next to her or head to toe. side by side or head to toe.
Wow.
And that would be something you would need to purchase in advance because somebody else can purchase that space.
I understand you. I understand you to say this made it something real clear to me. When my godparents passed, they had they were buried side by side, and then when my god sister passed, and we went out there, and they were saying, "Well, sure, we wouldn't have to worry about that because Dad brought a plot." And I'm thinking he's in it.
Because that's what we heard. You need to buy a plot.
But now I understand that a plot, and just learned it from you. Now I understand a plot is 6
or more.
6 spaces or more.
Or more. If you buy anything under 6, you're just purchasing a space.
Yes. Okay. Because I couldn't understand. You know, they said, well, you know, Linda's gonna go in the plot. Daddy bought a plot, and no,
yeah,
him and Mama in it,
right?
So they have like 6 or more spaces out there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
they need
exactly
that.
Right.
They had about 15 chairs.
Well, hold on one second, everybody. Listen, we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Miss LaSonia, and she has some great information because I need to know how. I need to know how to take it care.
I'm learning.
So we'll be right back.
Be right back.
All right.
If you're looking for custom handcrafted fashion jewelry that makes a statement, look no further than Linda S. Jewelry, 1426. We specialize in quality pieces fit for any occasion. Follow us on Facebook at Linda S. Jewelry, 1426 to view our inventory or to make a purchase. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Listen. We have the beautiful LaSonia with us and talking with us about pre-planned funerals, pre-needs. That's what she's talking about. And this is very interesting because I just learned some things and I hope that you have some questions for her. And it's so, it's one of those, hey, it's needed. And it's something that we don't want to talk about because after learning from my godmother, I went and did some things as well. And I was telling my boys, okay, so this is what mommy have. This is what they ain't even want to talk about it. They didn't want to talk about it. They well, let me just not say both because the baby boy, he's okay. But that oldest boy, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, but I need for you to know what's going on. You know, I want to make sure I'm writing up everything. You don't have any issues. I don't want to talk. Well, so when you going to talk? When I can't talk?
It's so late.
It's absolutely. It's so too late.
He doesn't talk anyway, so I don't even know why she's surprised.
So I have 3 daughters, and I think the very first time I had the conversation with them, I guess it was probably awesome. I think it was probably about 8 years ago or something like that, roughly. And they didn't want to talk about it. They did not want to talk about it at all. And the friend of mine who introduced pre-needs to me, you know, as far as a business standpoint, said, this is what you tell them. I was like, what? What if I died yesterday? You right here, right now. Mama died yesterday. We haven't talked about this.
Wow.
Where's the money? Do you know if I have a life insurance policy? Yeah. Who is it with? Don't know. You can find that information. What does she want? Does she want to be buried? She want to be cremated?
Wow.
We don't know. The only thing they probably really would know is something with purple and music and dancing. But what else? What would they know? So let's talk about this now. Yes, you do.
This must be your daughter on here. I still don't.
But it's okay because it's all we didn't talk about it, but I have everything written out. I mean, well, a third grader couldn't get it, you know. Wow. But it's just so very, you know, so very important. You know, they don't want to talk about it, but you have to because again, we're in the now. But if I asked yesterday, you know. How emotional, you know, death alone is emotional.
So emotional.
But we don't, none of us know when we're gone. We all know two things. We're going to live and we're going to die. We are going to live and we're going to die.
Right.
So let's talk about this thing right now. Bring some humor to it already, whatever, my choice for my final transition is going to be cremation. I was not always there because I thought cremation was a sin. I was
right.
Raising, you would not find a scripture that tell you that. And because I thought it was a sin, I wouldn't even think about it. I was so scared. Right. But as I got older and I started to understand some things for me and for my children, that was my choice.
I
my decision is I want what I have to go to my daughters and my grandbaby. I've even talked with 2 pastors about it because I honestly thought it was a sin. It's not. So at the end of the day, when you pre-plan, you do not have to leave all these questions for your loved ones. They're already in an emotional state. They're way down, burdened down, and then depending on the type of death, you just don't know. But when there's pre-need in place, like I said, when my dad transitioned, my mom did not leave home at all until the day that we had the family viewing. Because my siblings and I, we went to the funeral home and everything was already there. The only thing we had to pay for was the opening and closing, because at the time they did not put opening and closing. So you will have to pay that. But as far as his funeral and everything, we did not have to pay for anything. My mom did, like I said, my mom didn't leave home until the time for the viewing because she didn't need to do anything at all. We went there, looked over everything. Yep. Check. Sign off. Let's go. Done.
Okay.
Thank you, Colin. Colin says it's a good show. Thank you. Hey, that's our little brother. Little brother, do we need to pay for you? Do you need to call LaSonia?
So Olive Brown says she paid for her funeral service already, and that's a plus.
That is definitely a plus. That is definitely a plus.
When you talk about your children don't want to talk about it, my son is not going to talk about it. He says, Mom, talk to your daughter. When I went to my daughter and I took her my insurance policy and whatever, she didn't want to talk about it. But how I got her to talk about it, I started talking crazy. I told her I want my casket to have wings on it. And and I want you to figure out some kind of way that you can fly me through Sugarland. And I started talking crazy. She said, okay, see, Mama, you crazy. Let's sit
Bring
down.
the humor to it.
I just talk about crazy. I say, I want everybody to wear purple, black, and green. And this is what I want you to do. I want the person sitting, I want the whole first row to wear purple, the second row to wear green. I just start talking all this crazy stuff that I wanted. And then she told me, Mama, you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Wow. I want all this. I was naming all kind of crazy stuff. Right. And then she said, okay, now, Mama, let's sit down and talk about this seriously. I said, well, I was serious, but if you want to talk about it now, then but that's how I got her to talk about it, her attention, and for her to talk about it. Because sometimes you have to be extreme.
Yeah, you would have got my attention too. You'd have got my attention because
that's right.
I would not have I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I said I want your Auntie Linda to sing.
Okay, man. She got that point. On that point right there.
It's true.
It all down.
Right. Yeah.
Most people they just don't want to talk about it, but I just can't stress it enough. It's just so much better to have this conversation now, get the conversation out the way. And then the next thing, put it in writing, so they know. And you need to at least have at least 2 or 3 people need to know where it is. So
right. That's the worst thing to have it and can't anybody find it.
That's right.
So is that still considered a part of your will?
Yeah, it could be a part of your will.
Okay.
It could be a part of your will, or if you don't have a will, if you just write it out, and somebody know where it is. It's the big thing is, knowledge and having the conversation. You have to have the conversation. You have to. I recently done a pre-need for a lady and all of her children. She had 5 kids, and the youngest one was like 51. and the other ones were older. Nobody wanted to talk about it. So she had to let her attorney. Well, of course, I know where everything is, but outside of me, she had to let her attorney know where everything was, because they don't want to talk about it. I like that, Deborah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Deborah has a pre-need policy.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we also have
the
so what is a rider on the policy?
I'm so glad. So a rider on the policies, if you have children or grandchildren, I write with a agency called Homesteaders life insurance. And so the rider for the children and grandchildren is if they have not reached their 19th birthday, they will receive a insurance. They will receive a pre-need based off of your pre-need. So it's considered a rider, and it pays up to $5,000 for the child or grandchild if they have not met their 19th birthday. So that's a very good thing, and that's something that we give to everyone that has a pre-need, if there are children or grandchildren that fall in that range. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, hold on, because my grandbaby, I have two that are young, but the 18-year-old, she'll be 19 in May, so I can't do that one. But then the 2-year-old, so I can add her as a rider too. Okay.
Yeah. Your daughter, I think this is still your daughter. It's better to have the convo now than to try to figure it out later when it's too late. What's your daughter's name?
Ishan.
Ishan, talk English. We don't know what no convo is. We all.
But we're having it right now.
Right. Sonia, let me ask you this question. What happens when that child turns 19? Does the policy no good anymore, or can you convert it to her own policy? What happens when she turns 19?
They can increase the policy or add to it or anything at that particular time, but no, they do not lose the policy at that age.
Oh, okay.
So at 19, if they decide not to do anything with it, do they still have that $5,000 policy, or does it go away?
Well, it's there because they haven't transitioned. It's there for them to use upon their transition.
Okay,
so they can only have $5,000.
So they still have that $5,000.
Exactly.
But when they turn 19, they can increase it, because when they turn 19, then the policy is no longer yours. It turns into they're the owner on the policy. Am I correct?
That is correct. That is
okay.
Correct.
So then they can increase it or do whatever they need to do
right.
with it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I have a 15-year-old who I don't think is going to live to be 16, so I need to take care of that.
Don't say that. See, not true. That's not true. That's not true. I don't know what I'm going to do.
She's a sweet girl. She don't get on nobody's nerves but mine.
But mine.
Yeah.
But that's a good nurse. She's
a good girl.
Good nurse. Yeah. Good nurse. Yeah.
Get on my nerves.
That's it, Lord Jesus. Okay, so I am. This has been
very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm calling you in the morning, LaSonia.
Yeah, so we need to write some things up and get some. My interest is me from Florida, Texas to Florida. That's where I want to go back to.
And Johnson says my father and grandmother had a pre-need, saved a lot of confusion and stress. Mother has one now. Thank goodness we have a large family.
Oh yes, I'm telling you, it's like the old people say, the best thing since sliced bread. To have that pre-need, and yes, Angela, and it does cut down on a lot of confusion, because here once again, when your pre-need is in place, your loved ones get to honor your wishes. You set this thing in place. Right. So they get to honor your wishes. That's the whole beauty of, another part of the beauty of the pre-need is they get to honor your wishes. Yeah.
Right.
And my oldest sister lives with me. And I keep asking her, like, she's made me the beneficiary on her insurance policy, all the ones she haven't divided up between her children, her grandchildren. But with the business, that's fine. But I always asked her, what do you want me to do?
Right.
Whatever you do. But no, it's your funeral. What do you want? What are your wishes? What are your wishes? And the only thing she say is, don't let Jay Sheree, that's her daughter, don't let Jay Sheree have anything to do with it.
Okay, well, that's one thing
I said, well, the big thing is Jay Sheree's only child.
Okay.
Jay Sheree's not going to be in any shape. to have anything to do with it.
Yes.
So that's not going to be a problem. But I think when I have you, when I ask you to come over,
okay,
because you know, I had to fool my daughter with the stupidness and the funny thing,
right?
You have to do what you have to do. It's going to be on the pretense that you're coming for me, which I do want you to come for me, because I don't want that burden on my children. But then I'm going to start saying, well, Ann, what do you think? Because you have to do what you have to do. What do you think of this? And I'm gonna get her taken care of too. So I won't have that. I won't have, because I'm gonna be by myself. You know, she was married 50 years to her husband. He's gone before. So it's just me and her. My brothers and sisters don't have no say.
So so listen. Now, once I make all my arrangements, there is absolutely no way that Sharilyn, my sons, nobody could change anything. It stays just in the order that I place it in.
Unless they want to pay money for it.
Exactly, because yes, the only way, if they want to add something to it, well, let me back up. They have what's called a disposition of remains, okay? So whenever we write a pre-need, they also complete the disposition of remains. So you are saying who in order, you know, of children, friends, or whomever, you know, will be able to have a say on this here, you know. So when your body is, you know, when the disposition time comes, these are the people that will be contacted, and they already know, because it's in writing, that your body is going to be going from here to Florida, and whatever those steps are. So no one will be able to change that, because that document will be signed and notarized. Okay. And you'll have a list of your son, Sharilyn, whomever else, you know, you can list them all on there. So that is set in stone. That is a legal binding document.
Deborah Dunmore Thompson says that she agreed, because she will be in no shape if her honey transitions before her. If you're watching, contact LaSonia quickly. Get your business in order now. We pay for concerts, shopping. The time is now. This is a nice program.
Thank you very much.
That is
a nice program.
And speaking of, you know, paying for this, that, and the other, and you needing to put your pre-need in place, if depending on the plan on which package someone will select. Of course, it'll be different, but on the average, if you are a Starbucks person and you give up about 3 or 4 Starbucks, you know, because Starbucks people go to Starbucks every day or at least 4 times out of 7 days. If you give up, 3 to 4 of those, you can pay for your monthly pre-need. They are not expensive, you know. That's another thing people think, oh, they're too expensive. How do you know? Who have you sit down and had a consult with? How do you know? If you skip one beauty shop appointment a month, pay for your pre-need. If you skip going to Papa Do's, pay for your pre-need. If you don't go to Beyonce concert, pay for 6 or 7 months of your pre-needs. Okay?
Right. You're not paid in full.
Paid in full. You know, because Beyonce's is paid in full, but y'all paying $600, $700, and $800 for her tickets. But that's a story for another day and another time. But skip that concert and pay for your pre-need. Again, I cannot stress it enough. A pre-need will be the best gift that you give to your loved ones, you know. And I didn't think about this all the time, but now I do. It's like, how selfish is it for you to transition and you don't have any say, but somebody is going to do something to get you buried, cremated. Somebody's going to do it, but that was your business to handle. You should have taken care of that. You know, I can remember coming up, I'm still in church, but coming up in church, my mom was always a deaconess and different things. I can remember dinner sales to bury people, you know, and when somebody passed, they immediately go to the church as if that is the church responsibility. Let me say it for y'all, if the pastors don't want to say it. It is not the pastor and the church responsibility to bury you and or your loved ones.
And you get mad because they charge you.
And they get very mad. But it is not their responsibility. They may help if they can, but it is not their responsibility. It is for you and I to handle those things now while our eyes are open.
So I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I absolutely hate to see that on those GoFundMe's to bury somebody.
No, wait, we gotta go on break.
We're coming back. Wait a minute, Livingston, we're going on break and we'll come back and we'll answer your question.
Right back.
Okay.
Okay, so
if you live in Houston and surrounding areas and are in need of quality childcare, contact Cuckoo's Treasures today. We provide professional childcare in a caring and nurturing environment. Do you work second or third shift or don't have a typical schedule? Cuckoo's Treasures can assist you. We're open 24 hours and some weekends. Give us a call today at 346-313-9064. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Okay, thanks for coming back. Okay, so listen, Livingston made a statement right as we was going on break. So if our producer can place that back up there, we'll respond to him. But it's so crazy how we get upset at the church because the church won't do this, the church won't do that. And the second thing is you don't even have a church home.
Yeah. Livingston's comment was 2 Kings 23:16-20 speaks of cremation. But nowhere in the Bible said there is no judgment against them that does it. So thank you for that. Thank you, Livingston.
Good point taken.
So I have a question, LaSonia.
Sure.
If you were going to recommend somebody who's on a strict budget and they want to pre-need, what are the basics that I know a casket, but what are the basics that you would recommend that they get? Like they're not gonna get a flying casket like me, but
okay, so two different things. If they're going to do a burial or cremation, if it's a burial, of course, your casket. There's a such thing as even renting a casket. Okay.
So explain that. Don't stop right there. Explain that to me.
Yeah, rent.
Instead of you purchasing the casket at the funeral home, you just rent it. So there's a such thing as that as well. So there is something to fit every need of a person finances. You just have to be vocal about it when you're speaking with someone as myself or someone in the same role, so that we would know how we can assist you best. If finances is an issue, you need to speak that so we can see how we can help you. We may not be able to do a package, a pre-planned package. We may have to do just some a la carte things, and just get only, what you need, which pretty much the packages pretty much include the necessities, but there are a few other things that's included in there. And then if it's a cremation, and money is an issue, the simplest thing with the cremation is a direct cremation.
Okay, but let me ask you this, because I'm stuck on the rental of a casket.
Yes, it's done all the time. Nobody knows it but the families involved.
So what you do with the body though? What I'm in there, you rented it for my time frame, and then
it'll be maybe for the viewing, and then they may have just a burial box for the burial. That's a little bit out of my lane because that comes with cemetery, so I'm not going to try to even go into anything deep with that. But yes,
but that was enough right there, because I was like, you renting something for me to come in, and then what you gonna do with me though?
My brother-in-law used to always say, just don't spend no money on my funeral, just put me in the pine box. And I used to say, we can't put you in the pine box. He said, yes, you can. Just ask the cemetery. So I guess he was correct.
So you let you know it all.
So you recommend that you get a casket, you get the opening and closing. These are the essentials of the basics.
Right.
So the casket, the opening, closing.
And it depends if you're having a service. If you're having a funeral home service, if you're having a church service, people have it because of the pandemic. Some people are still starting to do graveside services, which is something you really didn't see. But, that can be very intimate and beautiful, just as if you're closed in. It just depends on, what the person wants, and again, you don't have those questions if you pre-plan.
Plan them. Yes.
So and Deborah,
yes,
you can also rent the flowers to decorate around the casket.
Okay,
wow.
Deborah, y'all killing me tonight, honey.
Okay, so
yes,
let's say tomorrow, one day I want to do a pre.
Okay.
And then will you come out? Because a lot of people who have never ever done a funeral, who've never arranged one, might not know what they need. So do you have a book and you can say, well, Sharilyn, do you want a casket, or do you want a service, or do you want this, or do you want that? And these are things that you can have, these are things that you can pick. These are things you can have.
But Darren said, do they have to have a service? No, you don't.
No, you don't.
That's your request. That's a part of the pre-need.
That's
you're
right.
Putting in there, you're telling them, no, I don't want no service. Yes. I don't want this. Just go ahead and put me in on this date, that time. So no, baby, you don't have to have a service. You don't.
That is correct.
Let me sing at your service.
Because the service is not for you.
Right.
The service.
Very
good point.
Right.
The service is for your loved ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah. None of it is for you.
Yeah, give them a chance to say goodbye. You're right. None of it is for you.
Right.
The only part of it that's for you is it gives you a peace of mind knowing that you have put everything in place, and everything after that is for your loved ones.
Wow.
Everything after that is for your loved ones.
This is so awesome. Yeah, I tell my kids all the time I want to be cremated, and they don't understand it. And I tell them, I am already dead. What difference does it make?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I've already transitioned. Mm-hmm. What difference does it make? How you bury me? I said, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten there yet, so
I'm there. Oh, Linda, I'm so there. Linda, I'm so there.
And the only reason that I'm not totally sold on it, because my kids have such a pushback. They have such a, Mom, please don't make us do that. Mom, please. What difference does it?
Please don't make us do that. Please.
Yeah, I understand.
I ain't there yet, LaSonia.
I'm
not there yet.
I understand it. I understand, but I mean, like for me, like I said, cremation is my choice. I'm going to have a full service. My program is even planned out. Everything is planned out. Right. After one of my girls, somebody was concerned about, people going to say what they want to say anyway, they ain't have no money to bury their mom. I'm telling my daughter to make a shirt when they take their jackets off, say laughing all the way to the bank.
That is so easy because when my sister was 25 years older than I was.
Yeah.
And one day she gave me a Bible. Mm-hmm. She was giving me Bibles all the time. I'm like, why are you giving me another Bible? She said, this Bible, I want you to keep it and hold it close. Mm-hmm. And when she passed, the Holy Spirit, I was about to say, I don't know what made me open that Bible, but it was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I opened that Bible and she had everything. Who was going to speak, who was going to do this, what church she was going to. I mean, she had everything in there, her insurance policies, everything in there. I says, okay.
Okay, Deborah, me and you together, Deborah.
Deborah said, I'm not there yet, and don't plan on going there. Don't be mixing me up with
other ashes.
Don't be mixing up with other ashes.
I'm Deborah. I love you. I don't even know you, honey. I know that Miss Linda loves you because I can.
But this is the thing, my god brother. We spoke of
good
Darren, my god sister.
Darren wants to know Darren wants to know, is my dog covered too?
Yes, good questions. Actually,
he has his father in a locket. Some of his father's ashes in a locket around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
So that people being very creative.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna get that creative. Go ahead. So answer Darren, is his dog covered too?
He said
yes. The dog, as a matter of fact, in your pre-needed can cover up to 5 pets. Cats, dogs, or whatever, as well. And it's usually, I forget with this company, I think it's like 250, but yes, your pet can be covered as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, it's so much with pre-needs. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. And like I said, I am determined to educate the masses on the way cremation works.
Ann Johnson says, cremate me and have a purple party. Ashes to be buried in Louisiana Family Cemetery.
Okay. I remember.
And now you make sure your family knows that. You know Ann LaSonia?
She's my classmate.
You make sure her family knows that. Yeah.
Yes. Put it in your will. Put it in writing. That's right. Put it in your will. That's the next thing. Outside of getting your pre-need, put it in your will. So when it's in black and white, hey, it's a done deal.
I only have one request, and I don't mind being cremated, but if my children feel that deeply about it, I won't do it. But shades of blue. I want everybody to have on shades of blue. That's my
okay.
So Lord, we done got past the cremation for her. I'm appreciative now. I could go for it. But listen, it's 8:00. It's time for us to go, and I don't want to go because there's other things. I'm stuck on the pets. But anyway, we gotta go. I hope you all enjoy LaSonia. Before we leave, though, can you please quickly tell them how to reach you?
Tell them how to get in touch with you.
Yes, you can reach me at 409-466-9826. Again, that is 409-466-9826. I do one-on-ones. I do families. I do social and civic organizations. I do corporations. I can, come in on a new hire team, give a presentation. I am very open to get this information to you out in any way that I have to. I'm also on social media under Rochelle Latulas, and that is my real name. Facebook just didn't like LaSonia. So I am on social media. You can reach me. My number is out there, pretty much everywhere. But again, it's 409-466-9826. Thank you, Sean. And everything, it doesn't even have to be done in person. In my 3 years, I have probably only gone into 7 homes because I do everything on the phone, over the phone, and everything is electronic, and you review everything and you sign it, and everything can be set up just like that. So you don't have to wait. I know with some of my elderly people, if they don't have a child or grandchild around, they want me to come there with them. But for the most part, people doing everything right on the phone with me right here, laptop going.
I need you to come take me.
And I will.
Because this is very important, and you really like me. So if I want to get a group of my girls, my friends, and just tell them to come over, and you'll come over and just speak to them, and
yes, ma'am.
Just tell them what's going on.
I will have a pre-need party. That's what it is. A pre-need party.
I will be there with bells on. You tell me when and where, and I will be there, and I will be ever so happy and honored.
And I can order some Huda wings.
Okay. Anyway, so listen, everybody. Thank you so much, ladies. You're so welcome, Deborah, and you have informed us as well. Thank you, LaSonia.
Thank you, Toya.
We're thanking everybody at this point because we do need this so bad. Yeah. And I'm so glad you were available to pass this information out to the people because we need it. And I have learned a lot. And I know it's time for us to go. But all I can do is say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for having me.
The Golden Square podcast, and we really appreciate you. We'll see you again. We'll talk about it.
We'll definitely see you again.
Right.
I definitely want to see you again.
All right. So thank you, LaSonia. Thank you, Sharilyn. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
For joining
good
us.
Night.
Thank you.
Good night. Have a good night.
LaSonia, stay right there.
All right. Okay. Good night, everyone.